Benji, Krol, and Jorge Garay, our favorite resident TikTok softboys, and predators. In this video, I'll be discussing their recent allegations and analyzing the apology issued by Benji. So let's get into it, shall we? A few months ago, an anonymous account posted screenshots of DMs with Benji on Twitter. In these DMs, things like, "I'm okay with anything as long as you choke me," are said. The 15-year-old victim says, without known context, "You could, but it wouldn't be a good idea since you have millions of fans that have access to porn and will probably find y'all in like 5 seconds," followed by the phrase, "famous tings." I assume the context is that Benji mentioned filming a video of sorts with Jorge, because he replies to these messages with, "Guess we'll just send them to you." In another screenshot, a user is quoted saying, "At least I have exclusive Benji selfies. He was so creepy last night, I swear to God." I was like, "How do you even text on your iPad?" And he's like, "I hold it on my chest." Then he said, "You're on my chest," and sends this. This meaning the picture Benji sent of a selfie taken from the angle of his chest. The victim had also posted these screenshots explaining their experience. These screenshots read, "In February 2020, Jorge sent me a screenshot from him and Benji's FaceTime. It was a live photo of Benji jerking off while he was at the gym. He had also sent me a close-up live photo of the tip of Benji's thing. I was caught off guard and asked why Jorge had sent these photos to me, a 15-year-old. I also asked if Benji was aware of him sending these photos to me. Jorge defended himself by saying he sent it to me because it was quote-unquote hot. Later, I told Benji about what had happened, and all he had to say was, 'Oh my God,' before changing the conversation." Benji and Jorge were one of the first gay couples I'd seen receive so much support. I looked up to them and took inspiration from their TikTok videos. They were highly praised, and I loved how they were just themselves. They helped me come into my sexuality and feel more comfortable with myself. When they started to show interest in me, I was starstruck by the fact that I was becoming friends with my idols. However, their social media fame blinded me, and I didn't realize how they took advantage of me until talking about my experience with close friends in July and August 2020. Following these conversations, I went through my text messages with Benji and Jorge and felt disgusted with myself until I realized that none of this was my fault. I understand that they may be some of your favorite people, and this could be hard to believe, but please be open-minded and listen to what I have to say before attempting to disapprove my claims. Now that we've gone over the overview of the claims made, let's get into the apologies issued. I'm going to put out a trigger warning right now that he does mention self-harm and those topics, so you might want to just skip over this part if you're sensitive to that. The full apology states, "I know a lot of you have been waiting to hear something and are very confused, and that a lot of you don't understand why it's taken so long. The reason it's taken so long is because I tried to kill myself. I was in the hospital and I've been recovering and trying to piece everything together. I'm not trying to gain sympathy points from telling you this. I'm just giving the real explanation you all deserve for being late to responding. The reason for me trying was due to a lot of things building up, and it's not directly because of this. It's not the first time. From what you've heard about what we've done, I know for a fact part of it is true, the FaceTime. Before it happened, I told Jorge it was wrong and was very uncomfortable with it. I also asked the other person if they were okay with it, which I know was a mistake and it wasn't their place to decide. I know it was extremely wrong, and in no way am I trying to excuse anything because it should have never occurred either way. And I apologized to the affected person after it happened and have felt horribly about it ever since. I just felt so pressured by Jorge into doing it. However, I still take responsibility for my own actions. I don't even know the full story because Jorge knows everything else, but I have no way of finding the rest out. I woke up in the hospital alone and not knowing where he was. I currently only know he's left me, and I assume he went back to his own home, which is hours away. He has only briefly spoken to me and has no intention of seeing me anytime soon. I don't really understand everything that's going on, but I know that any other allegations involving me are completely false. I have never done anything like this before and will never be doing anything like this again. I'm not sure why anyone would want to make things up in a situation like this. I don't want to invalidate what the affected person has said. I'm just telling you what I know is true. There's also a lot of other people trying to take advantage of the situation, and anything coming from anyone else is also completely false. I know some of you may be confused by me denying everything at first, and that's because there was a huge amount of untruth being spread and I was very confused. I wish I could speak to Jorge about this all, but I've just been left in the dust. I love him so much and really do care about him. I just don't think it's best for us to continue being together. I hope he can get the help he needs, and maybe in the future I'll be able to figure everything out with him and that he can make his own statement. I would also have made a video explaining everything, but I physically cannot, so this is why I've written it. I'll make sure to improve myself and not let myself feel the need to do anything that would make me feel uncomfortable just to make someone else happy ever again. I'm extremely sorry to the victim and hope they are doing okay. I know none of this should have ever happened, and that there's nothing I can do to fix it but work on bettering myself and piecing everything together. And I hope that everyone can respect their privacy. I'll be taking a break from social media to recuperate mentally and get some help. I'm extremely sorry to anyone affected by this whole situation, and I hope you know that I appreciate and love all of you. I'm not asking for forgiveness, I'm just trying to tell you everything that I know. And if anyone sending hate or harmful messages to my friends could stop, I would really appreciate it. None of them are deserving. He finishes his apology by saying, "Again, I am not looking for sympathy. Considering everything, I still made my own choice to be a part of it, and I admit it was a horrible mistake that I regret completely. When I return from my break, if I return, I will make sure that it will be when I'm ready and able to talk about everything. I never want anyone to experience something like this, and I will be sure to show that I stand against it completely. I ask everyone to please as well learn from this situation and know that if you know something is wrong, stand against it completely and refuse to take part, no matter what the pressure being put against you." Before we get into the analysis, I want to make it clear that this is not your apology to accept, and that no matter how much someone apologizes, it doesn't take back what they did. This may have even traumatized the 15-year-old victim. This type of manipulation is not okay, and unless you are the victim, you are in no place to accept this apology. He again places blame on Jorge, then immediately states he takes accountability, though this time he sandwiches his innocence and big boy responsibility between claims of Jorge pressured me and Jorge knows everything else, which is just manipulation of seeking forgiveness and looking like less of a bad guy. He again poses himself as being completely clueless and innocent by saying he doesn't really understand everything that's going on. If you don't understand what happened and Jorge is just some all-knowing being, how can you prove other allegations wrong? He then states that he doesn't want to invalidate the victim and says that he's just stating what he knows is true, which is basically nothing else but the screenshots taken of him by Jorge during a FaceTime. Jorge knows everything else, and that after an attempted suicide, Jorge off to who knows where with all of the information of the situation that he was always involved in. I'm sorry, but I don't buy it. How could you and your boyfriend not know the same information of the same situation that you were both involved in? These two quite literally manipulated and groomed a child together. How could you not know all the information? Then he says, "I just don't think it's best for us to continue being together." He publicly breaks up with his boyfriend and a notes-app apology about allegations of grooming and harassing a child. This whole apology has been Benji taking responsibility, which is really just shifting blame to Jorge and saying how pressured and manipulated he was. If we compare the actual victim statement and this quote-unquote apology, Benji's painting himself as more of a victim than the actual victim. There's not really much more I have to say about this situation, but I hope the victim is doing well and won't have this happen to them ever again. I hope Benji recovers and gets help for his mental well-being. For Jorge, I hope he comes out with a statement and that their fans stop dismissing such a serious allegation and unfortunate circumstance for the victim. Thank you for watching my first video, and I hope you have a good rest of your day or night.